Hello everyone, I'm the Saxy Gamer. Today we're here for yet another Civilization 6 Leader Spotlight, where today we'll be taking a look at Pericles of Greece. So Pericles' first ability is known as Surrounded by Glory, and it makes so that he receives plus 5% culture per city-state he is the suzerain of. So Surrounded by Glory is an absolutely insanely good ability. It has the potential to be absolutely ridiculous. The fact that this is a percentage-based boost is just, it helps make it so very good, because as you scale up with more culture yields from maybe your Acropolises and whatnot, or Acropoli, however you pronounce that, or just more culture throughout the game, then the percentage base is going to make that so that your ability then provides you more actual culture yield as well, and it can snowball you into being absolutely ridiculous. And then as you get more culture, you progress through the civic tree faster, and as you get more civics, then when you complete some civics, you get envoys, which allow you to become the suzerain of more city-states, which just makes it so that you're able to get even more culture. So with Surrounded by Glory, you can just get a ridiculous amount of culture, and it is a very strong culture ability. Greece's second ability is known as Plato's Republic, and it makes so that he receives one extra wildcard policy slot in any government. This is the exact same as what Gorgo had when we talked about Gorgo quite a while ago. In my opinion, this hasn't really changed. I still think it is a very good ability. Just having one extra wildcard policy slot is just very nice, because you can put in any policy card that you would want in that slot, because it's a wildcard slot. So that just gives you a lot of versatility of other bonuses that you could choose, and it helps with your early game, can help you in the late game, and overall it's nice, and it's a versatile bonus that you can use really in whatever way you want. So Plato's Republic, also a very good ability. Pericles' unique unit is the exact same as Gorgo's as well, so I won't talk about it all too much, but it is the Hoplite, which is a special unit that replaces the Spearman. It has a melee strength of 25, which is the same as the Spearman, a movement of 2, which is also the same as the Spearman, and a production cost of 65, which is also the same as the Spearman. The thing that makes the Hoplite special, though, is that it receives plus 10 combat strength if it is adjacent to another Hoplite. So once again, just notice that this is not per adjacent Hoplite, so you can't get like plus 50 combat strength for having one Hoplite surrounded by other Hoplites, because that would be just stupid. But it is just, as long as there is at least one Hoplite adjacent to a Hoplite, then they get plus 10 combat strength. So the Hoplite is a very good unique unit. Having plus 10 combat strength over spearmen or warriors or something of the sort it's quite a significant boost, so that is very nice. I don't find them to be as useful on Pericles, though, just because of his general playstyle. I don't really find myself warring too much with Pericles, because unlike with Gorgo, that I would maybe go and take over a neighboring city-state or try to war my nearest neighbor, I really wouldn't try for that with Pericles, just because, one, you don't want to get rid of city-states, because the more city-states you have, the better off you are, because you can be their suzerain, and two, you don't really want to cause too much trouble, because then just being generally aggressive isn't really good for culture victory, because you want to be friends with people, you want to have open borders with them, you want to send them trade routes, and all of those things. So I don't find the Hoplite to be as useful on Pericles, but it is still a very good unit. As far as Pericles' unique district is concerned, we have the Acropolis, which is once again the same as Gorgo's, so I won't talk about it all too much, but I will actually get the information right this time, unlike last time. So the Acropolis provides you with one great writer, great artist, great merchant point per turn, which all are the same as the theater square. It also gives you +1 envoy, which is very nice, especially considering the bonus whenever you're suzerain of city-states to your culture, and just getting suzerain bonuses as well. And it also has half the production cost of the theater square, which is very nice. So remember, this district costs scale throughout the game, so whatever the cost of a theater square normally would be, the Acropolis will be half of that, so you can't really put a number on it because it scales throughout the game, but either way it will be half. The other thing I didn't mention is that the Acropolis must be built on hills as well, which is something to definitely keep in mind. The Acropolis has totally unique adjacency bonuses as well, so you get +1 culture from having an adjacent city center. Obviously, this would be per adjacent city center, but you can never have it in between two city centers, because you can't have city centers like that close to each other. So +1 culture from an adjacent city center, you get +1 culture from each adjacent district, and +1 culture from each adjacent wonder. So the Acropolis, I think, is a very good district. It's pretty much just a theater square that you can build faster. You get some envoys from it, and you are able to get a little bit more adjacency bonus on it normally than you would normally get on a typical theater square. So with the Acropolis, you definitely want to plan to settle your city centers next to hills, so that way you can put the Acropolis right next to a hill. Because since the city center also counts as a district, you get +2 culture from each city center effectively, and then you can just put some other districts around, and normally you can get Acropolises that are at least +3 or +4, so that is very nice. I do find that with Pericles, unlike, with the Hoplite that Pericles doesn't make use of very well. Pericles does make use of the Acropolis even more so than Gorgo did, because +1 envoy as Pericles, considering the fact that you get +5% extra culture from being the suzerain of a city-state, those envoys can be very, very helpful. So I would highly recommend placing down Acropolises in every single city that you possibly can, because just getting those envoys to become suzerain of city-states is very, very useful. So overall, the Acropolis, a very nice district. And now with all of this in mind, it is time to talk about some of the strengths and weaknesses of Pericles and the Greeks in Civilization 6. So for the first strength, one of the biggest things with Pericles is that his percentage-based culture boost is absolutely insane. So with Pericles, you can get ridiculous amounts of culture. It's even worse whenever the AI plays as Pericles, especially the DDAI, in which they already get that additional +32% culture, but them having Pericles' culture boost as well just makes it so that they get like 800 culture per turn, which is just totally stupid. But as a player, though, even just getting that percentage-based culture boost is very, very nice. You can often get up into at least +300, +400, +500, all the way up to normally like +800 culture per turn as Pericles if you're able to get suzerain of a lot of city-states. If you combine this with Antananarivo, the city-state that gives you +2% culture per great person that you've ever recruited, you just get to be absolutely ridiculous, because then you'll be getting lots of great writers from your Acropoli or your Acropolises, and then that also stacks on, that percentage-based boost stacks on with Greeks, with Greece's percentage-based boost, so you can get up to like 60% extra culture or more just from playing Pericles. So having that percentage-based culture boost is a huge strength of Pericles, and one of the best things about him. The other strength about Pericles is that he's able to get a lot of suzerain bonuses, so he's just incentivized to play towards city-states so very much, and he gets those extra envoys from his Acropolises that you'll be able to become the suzerain of a lot of city-states, and then you'll also be getting all of their suzerain bonuses as well, which can often be very nice, especially if you have someone like Geneva or Toronto or Antananarivo or like any of the really, really good city-states, that you'll be getting some extra bonuses from that. Kilwa is a really, really great wonder on Pericles, because you're able to become suzerain of a lot of city-states, so having Kilwa will give you a lot more bonuses around your entire empire as well, normally with Pericles, and it is just a very, very nice thing. As far as weaknesses are concerned, though, the one really, really big weakness of Pericles is that he is heavily reliant on city-states. So it is a big problem in Civ right now that the AI tends to be really, really aggressive towards city-states, and they really like to kill all of the city-states. So whenever this happens, when you're playing Pericles, it is very bad, because that can get rid of, like, I think on stream the other day, I was playing, and Montezuma had taken over one of like a few of my city-states that I was suzerain of, and my culture dropped by like over 100 culture per turn. So losing city-states can be absolutely just devastating whenever you're playing Pericles. So just that reliance on them is very, very, it's a very big weakness of Pericles. The other one big weakness of Pericles is that he is very, very non-versatile. There's pretty much only one victory type that you'll ever go for on Pericles, and that is culture, because outside of culture, he really just doesn't have boosts to anything at all. So just that amount of non-versatility is a very serious problem, because if something happens that, maybe it's very hard to win a culture victory in a given game, given the conditions, then you're just going to kind of be out of luck with Pericles. And now it is that time to give Pericles his tier rankings. If you're new to the series, what I do is I give each leader a tier ranking in each of the 4 victory types, so domination, science, culture, and religion, and those rankings just kind of gauge the civilization's general proficiency at attaining either of the rankings. I give them an overall ranking as well, which takes into account other things such as their spawn bias and their versatility, and that ranking just kind of pits them against the other leaders in the game and gives you an idea of where they fall. All of our rankings go from S to F, with S being the highest and F being absolutely terrible. So without further ado, let's go ahead and rank Pericles. So domination is up first, and I think that Pericles deserves a C in domination. He really just doesn't have any reason to go for domination, and he isn't particularly good at domination either. So unlike with Gorgo, who I believe I gave Gorgo a B in domination because she gets that boost from her combat victories to her culture, and just the Hoplite is a lot more useful to Gorgo than it is to Pericles, because you're really not incentivized to fight as Pericles. You don't want to fight as Pericles, because fighting means that you're not going to be getting open borders or trade routes with people, and that's a little bit detrimental to a culture victory, so you don't want to do that. Sure, the Hoplite still is a very good thing, but I just find as Pericles, you really want to avoid war as much as you can, and just allow yourself to turtle up and just sit there and slowly become the suzerain of as many city-states as you possibly can, and you don't want to be interrupted from that. You just want to build your wonders, build your Acropoli or Acropolises, and just have a good cultural game. So domination, you kind of want to avoid, so for that reason, I think he's just average and deserves a C. Science is up next, and once again, I think that he deserves a C. It's really just that he doesn't really have very many bonuses towards science. Really, the only advantage you have towards going science is the ability to get a lot of envoys that can give you extra science in, you know, like your campus buildings or good suzerain bonuses, but aside from that, that's really reliant on city-states, it's really reliant on RNG, so I don't think that's impactful enough to raise his ranking, so I think he's fairly average and deserves a C. Culture's up next, and I definitely think that Pericles deserves an S in culture. He is one of the leaders that is able to get perhaps the most culture in the game just because of how insane you can get with his percentage-based culture boost. So whenever you're playing as Pericles, you can easily get to like 200 culture per turn by turn, 120, 150, something like that. And with that, then you can go speed through the Civic Tree, get all your important wonders like Cristo Redentor, Eiffel Tower. Then you can go ahead and build all your seaside resorts, build all your national parks, just have a great time. The Acropolis is really good for providing extra yields as well. You can have, once you have a lot of Acropolises built, you can build them in half the time that you would be able to build a theater square, so you can get them down really fast, build some amphitheaters, build some art museums or archaeological museums, get all your great works, have plenty of space for your great works, and just have a very good time playing culture. So Pericles is a very good cultural civ and definitely deserving of the S tier ranking. Religion's up last, and I think that he deserves a C in religion. Much like with the other victory types, he really just doesn't have anything going for him here. He doesn't have any bonuses at all. No real reason to go for religion just because he's so much better at culture. And I think it's too slow to go for like a religion and culture game because your start will just be terribly slow. You're very vulnerable if you go for religion and culture. So just considering that lack of bonuses, I think he's fairly average and deserves a C. And for his overall ranking, I think that Pericles deserves an A. He is not a versatile civ, but what he does very, very well. So when you're going Pericles, you will 100% of the time be going for a cultural victory because there's really not much of a reason to go for anything else with Pericles because he's really just not very good at anything else. But at what he does, he excels very, very well. He's able to get suzerain of a lot of city-states, get bonuses from a lot of those suzerains, from a lot of those suzerain ships, able to place down your Acropolises. They're very good units, very good districts. His Hoplite is a very good unit as well. If you need to use it to maybe defend yourself or maybe just take 1 or 2 cities from someone else, you definitely can. So overall, he is a very strong civ. Although he is non-versatile, he is very, very strong. So thank you everyone for watching. I have been the Saxy Gamer. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you're looking for more Civilization 6 content, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.